Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the Ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
Here are some items of interest for those of us that are getting a little gray in the beard. How can you avoid that terrible curse of the elderly wrinkles? And the answer is, take off your glasses. And then, where should us graybeards look for eyeglasses? The answer is simple, on our foreheads. Morning, everybody. Here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America, followed by a patriot to call in with our Pledge of Allegiance on this Thursday, already July 19. Good morning. Thank you very much, and welcome to a Thursday edition of Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you. If you're getting ready for a road trip, you stop in and see them today. Along with some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Right now, let's go to the phone line and have our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Well, good morning, sir.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yes. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Very well done, Wheels. Thank you very much. And right now it's time for the weather, brought to you by K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 west of Heyburn, right there on the Burley-Paul Highway. They've got all the tractor mowers and the push mowers and the jackhammers and the miscellaneous tools, all the tools and equipment you need to finish a construction project, whatever. They've got it. K&R Rental, Roger and the crew on the Burley-Paul Highway. Number to call, 678-3122. Right now, here's the weather.
I feel like I'm beginning to sound like a broken record as this high-pressure system decides to stick around for the rest of the week. Here's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. Sunny skies today, slightly breezy, winds out of the west, right around 10 miles an hour, gusts as high as 20 miles an hour. Looking at a high of 92. Tonight, mostly clear with a low of 57. Tomorrow, again, another warm day, sunny skies, high of 93. Clouds moving in for tomorrow night, partly cloudy with a low of 63. By Saturday, we do have a 20% chance of rain showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon and early evening hours. Fingers crossed that those thunderstorms do not bring in any more wildfires. Partly sunny skies, high of 90 for Saturday evening, partly cloudy with a low of 61. As we make our way to Sunday, sunny skies, high of 90. Monday, mostly sunny and 92. That's your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Oh, thank you, Gina. Very, very well done. Thank you for the weather. And it's brought to you by K&R Rental, 256 South, 600 west of Heyburn. As I said, Roger and the crew get there early in the morning at 7 a.m. to serve you right there on the Burley-Paul Highway for all the tools and equipment you need. 678-3122, K&R Rental. Hey, Merv May, come on in here.
All right, hey, good set of steer calves there, here to get all our 31 woman and 30.
Oh, that's the chant of the world's best doggone auctioneer, Merv May, over at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley. The sale that works for you. Don't forget, today is sale day at 10:30 a.m. You better believe it at 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley. Number to call for sale information or cattle consignments, 678-9411. Merv May, Cade Rogge, and Lance Udy serving you at Burley Livestock Yard. Today, a lot of good butcher cows. Acme Dairy's bringing them in, Funk Dairy, TLK, P-Bar S Dairy, and they will have, as always, a great trailer line run of cattle coming in. Trailer line run, big long trailer line, a good cattle coming in. 10:30 starting time at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard. Don't forget, sale time 10:30. Merv, sell those steers.
All right, hey, good set of steer calves there. Here to get all 31, 1.5, 31, 1.5, 32, 2.5, 3.5, 134, 4.5, 5.5, 5.5, 135, 50, 135.5, selling $1.35. Does that bell get the bottom?
Oh, I don't mind. Morning to you, and thanks for tuning us in. We got a lot of things to cover this morning. And at 10:30 this morning, the old fishing hole with Josh of Sportsman's Warehouse. I talked to him already about 15, 20 minutes ago. He's been out fishing since daybreak, so he's going to tell us. He's out at Salmon Dam, and he's going to tell us all about the walleye fishing this morning. Don't forget, too, our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric, and I say this every day on the program, but it's really true. All of your heating, cooling, and electrical needs right there at Ramsey Heating and Electric, 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Now, the number to call, 678-0459. And with your air conditioners, we've had temperatures up there in the mid-90s, close to the triple digits. It's hot. And if you've got air conditioning, you want to keep it running efficiently and cool, they've got all the AC filters for you right there at Ramsey Heating and Electric. Open at 7:30 to 5. Monday through Friday, Ramsey Heating and Electric. You be sure and stop in or see them today. Also, next week on Thursday, yes, it's going to be next week on Thursday, the 26th. We'll be over at Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner, celebrating our next lunch bunch, and we urge you to be there. Be there at 611 North Overland and Burley, Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner. What we do is we get together at about 11:30, and everybody sits down to a really good lunch, and let me tell you, the menu choices are phenomenal. Breakfast, lunch, or dinner, anytime, all the time. Nice people serving us, Thomas and the crew. And then, of course, we have door prizes and everything right there at Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland and Burley. And they also have another location at 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls, America's Diner, Denny's Restaurant. All right, now it's your turn. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. This is a story that really bothers me, and we didn't get a chance to get into it yesterday, and I said that I was going to talk about it this morning. And to me, it is science going too far. And I really want your opinion on this because it's your show, basically, for your opinions, etc., and your response to different stories. But genetically altered babies. Genetically altered human babies. Now looks like a very distinct possibility to be allowed in the United Kingdom. And I'm really, I've got my feelings on this that are so strong that we're taking away God. And if you don't want a boy, you wanted a girl, well, we'll just genetically alter the genes. Now we can alter and change genetically modified humans. Oh, well, this one's not going to be perfect. This one's not going to be blue-eyed and blonde-haired. Whoop, change it. It really is scary, and I'm very concerned. This is meddling, like I said, with God. And when you think down the road, a lot of people might not agree with this, but it's almost like the production, possibly, of a super race of certain attributes and characteristics that are just for the chosen few. Money-wise, this is going to cost a lot of money. Money-wise, it's probably going to be to the super wealthy. But they are also over in the United Kingdom allowing perhaps the death to Down syndrome babies. Oh, we've got bad news for you. Your baby may become a Down syndrome baby. Well, let's just have an abortion and get rid of it. The cold callousness that now today seems to be in our everyday life against life. Please, I want your thoughts on this. Pro or con, negative or positive, please give me a jingle at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call, please. Well, I'm waiting for your calls that I just knew you're dialing right now, calling in. Don't forget, yesterday, I understand they had a really good, successful health fair over at Pomerell Place, 1301 Bennett Street in Burley, and Holly and the crew always there to serve you, and we say thanks for letting us do some of the advertisements on that. 8 to noon, they had a great big program. Well, of course, Pomerell Place is the place for senior living, and I urge you to check it out. I urge you to give them a call and find out more. You don't want to be staying alone. You don't want to be in that big house by yourself. You don't want to have all the hazards and the risks and maybe not eating well. Call them today, Pomerell Place. A place for senior living at 1301 Bennett Street in Burley. The number is 677-8212. Also, when you talk about things you don't want to do, you've got to talk about pumping out a septic tank on a hot day of about 95 degrees. Oh, no, you don't want to do that. I'll tell you, people that do, and they do it with a smile on their face, serving you. And that's Dino's Septic Service. Talk about fast and fair and friendly service. You talk about being there when you need them for septic tank pumping and of course, backhoe service, sewer and sink drain lines clean, liquid waste removal. I mean, the list goes on and on, excuse me, of their service to you. All you need to do is call them at 436-6526 or in Burley 678-1638. Dino's Septic Service, please remember that name. They'll pull in your yard with that big truck that says smells cargo on the way. Dino's Septic Service. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
You know, this deal that you're talking about,
Keith, I'm going to have to ask you to speak up a little bit. You've got a really, really light voice. Go ahead, please.
Okay. This that you're talking about concerns life itself.
Yes.
And I'm adamantly against it. You know, this will be the biggest play for attorneys that you'll ever see, because something is not going to be right about the baby they get because it's been altered and I want to return it. It's not Walmart they're dealing with. It's dealing with the government and everybody else. And that's what people, if they're crazy enough to do this, then why not be able to have a return policy?
Yeah, but you know something, Keith, and please do not take offense at what I'm about to say. You're not perfect, I'm not perfect, nor were we intended to be. There is only one perfect being, and that being God. And when I start to think that human beings are going to be able to alter and refine and define exactly who or what is going to be born into their family under what characteristic or attributes, oh, I've got to put my foot down and say that's enough. We've gone too far.
Well, you know, it all depends on your attitude. Like I can remember our last child before he was born. We had 3 other children that were out of their diapers and everything looked really good. And my wife says, I had a dream that we need to have another child. And don't do that. We got enough and everything. Anyway, after thinking about it, I thought, maybe my wife has been in touch with somebody that really knows what's best.
Yeah.
And we went ahead and had this child. He's now 42 years old, and He's the love of our life. I mean, people don't think about life that way, but they should.
Absolutely. And as far as, you said something a moment ago on Wheels, there's a little feedback there. You said something a moment ago about disposable. And this is the society in general that I think we're leading ourselves into. Oh, well, this baby might have this and this baby might have that. Well, let's just have an abortion and get rid of this child and try for one, and we'll alter it and make it more perfect. Keith, I am so afraid and so worried and so upset about human beings being able to alter and literally manufacture other human beings.
It's a state of mind. You know, how many times have you heard of babies getting switched at the hospital? It doesn't happen very often, but once in a while it does.
Yeah.
And you love your baby and everything, and then you find out you have the wrong one. It doesn't change a thing in most people's lives. Maybe the Lord had something to do with this.
Whatever the reasons, but as far as saying that a human life is an oops, that just disgusts me. I've got a lot of physical problems. I have had all my life. And underneath a Hitleristic attitude society, oh, well, let's just get rid of him and we'll have this, we'll alter this, we'll make this one so that when it grows up it's 6'3", blue-eyed, blonde, everything will be perfect. Oh, I don't think that God intended any way, shape, or form of this.
Yes, it might do well to ask the mother of Wheels. She had to deal with this, and I'll bet you she is much in love with that young man as you could ever.
Well, I don't even want to get into personal stories. I don't want to get into personal stories or anyone else's personality or whatever. That's not for us to talk about. But in generalizations this morning, I do not like nor can I respect anyone that wants to play God. Keith, I appreciate your call. God bless you, man. Thanks.
You bet.
All right, sir. Don't forget Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, and, of course, our dear friend Nick Greenwell and all the physical therapists over there at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Just coming back from a surgery or maybe recouping from an accident or whatever, and you got the aches and the pains and the stiffness, and you're going, I can't do that anymore. Well, call them, make an appointment at 678-1191. They know all the exercises. They have the only hydrotherapy pool of its kind in this area, and I know from my own experience they can and they will help you. Please give them a call today. Make an appointment, 678-1191. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Hold on a second, caller. I've had a cough this morning for some reason I can't get rid of, and I apologize for that. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Thank you.
Good morning, Zeb.
Hi, Linda.
Hi. You know, it's, what do I want to say? Life, if we get to the point where we manufacture life, like you said, we don't have a respect for the human soul that is God-given. And if we don't, I think we're walking farther and farther away from our roots, from our Creator, and from what we are.
You know,
there are many, many people that are not perfect.
Amen.
That have given so much to our lives, to our society, that if we throw them away, which we already do when we create abortions, that, you know, we're going to lose what we are.
Haven't we done that already, though? Linda, haven't we, I don't mean you or I or any other members of Magic Valley or whatever, but in its entirety, the human race has, in my mind, denigrated themselves by trying to play God. And any time that you say that you can alter the genes and make the human baby perfect for that particular family or situation, we're playing God, and it's wrong. And I think right there, I think they need to put the brakes on and say enough is enough.
Yeah. Well, you know, the head of the Human Genome Project wrote a book and said we have to, that there is such a thing as bioethics, and we have a certain responsibility, and we cannot step beyond a certain limit.
Yeah. Can you imagine, honestly, in the future, kind of a futuristic type atmosphere, of a parent, a man and a woman, going into a doctor's office and selecting the baby that they're going to have? I mean, it makes me almost kind of cringe. It makes me feel creepy and crawly that would happen. And I'm just sitting there. I don't want to live in that kind of a society.
I think it may have very far-reaching consequences for our attitudes, and even our attitude toward, again, our Creator.
Yeah.
When we try to become the Creator.
Amen. Very well stated. Very well stated. Linda, I appreciate your calls always, and I hope that you have a wonderful weekend.
And I hope you do, too.
Thank you.
We'll see you next week.
Thank you. Appreciate that. I've got a lot of worries about this situation. Maybe you don't. Maybe you think, oh, it's a good thing. But if you do, regardless of your opinion, call me and let me know what your thoughts are. I don't like the idea of a department store selection of the perfect human traits and characteristics for your baby. Caller, stand by. Looking for a camper shell for your pickup? Well, I'm telling you what, if you're looking for a certain style and color, and the AREs, absolutely the best made ARE campers, I know because I bought one at Anthony and, of course, Save On Shells. Folks, I really give a testimonial about Anthony and Save On Shells because of the super diligence that he showed, the great service that he showed, and I'm telling you, you're going to be treated the same way. Call him at 312-1525, 312-1525, Save On Shells at 1027 Overland and Burley with the ARE camper shells. Let me tell you, they're the best, and so is he. Save On Shells and Anthony, you stop in and see them today. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
This is the Good News Lunch guy. Today at the Senior Junction on South Overland, we're having roast beef, mashed taters and gravy, a vegetable, and yummy dessert. Everybody's welcome. You don't have to be a senior to come out and have lunch with us. If you want a meal to go, get your order in before 11 and pick it up between 12 and 1.
Okay, now, Joe, be more explanatory. What is a yummy dessert?
Well, that's a childhood phrase, I guess.
You know what? You've got an answer for everything. I can't ever paint you into a corner.
Well, that's because I'm in a round room.
There you go again. I love you, Joe. Thanks. We'll send everybody over to the Senior Junction. Thank you much.
All right, we need everybody's participation. Thank you.
Okay.
Have a great day.
Thank you. He's got a response for everything. Well, that's because I'm in a round room. I love that. Joe Taylor and the Senior Junction. Hey, by the way, it's going on till the end of the week, and that's, of course, the Oakley Pioneer Days, 131st running, and Clark's for Shopping up there in Oakley at 100 East Main Street in Oakley. Famous breakfast sausage from Grandma's recipe in bulk, patties or links. Ooh, it's good. They've been in business since 1924, serving you at Clark's for Shopping in Oakley. Also, Oakley Valley Stone. They urge you to come on up and enjoy Oakley Pioneer Days at 204 West Main Street in Oakley. And by the way, if you're looking for a new stone for a fireplace, or if you're looking for a headstone for a loved one, landscaping boulders, whatever, look no further than Oakley Valley Stone. They can and they will help you. Along with Searles at 120 North Center Street in Oakley. Gas, grub, and goodies, and they're open at 6 in the morning till 9 at night. I'll tell you what, all the specialty buns baked fresh every day, they are really good. You're going to love the folks at Searles, 120 North Center in Oakley. And, of course, some of the great activities that are going on. Let's see, today is Thursday, and tonight the world famous, and they get like a gazillion entries up there for the big Gymkhana, and it's open to amateur contestants, I believe 16 and under, and that's going to start at 6 o'clock tonight. Oh boy, it's a biggie. And then tomorrow and Saturday, the open rodeo and fireworks and dancing, and then on Saturday, don't forget too, great big Pioneer Day Parade at 11 o'clock. All of this and more at the 131st edition of Oakley Pioneer Days this week. Looking forward with faith. You be sure and stop up and see the friends in Oakley. All right, calls are welcome. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. What do you think about that topic? Nobody ever wants to really talk about it. Nobody ever really wants to consider about genetically altered or modified human beings, possibly to produce a super race of human beings. What are your thoughts? Kind of leaves one with a little chilling, doesn't it? Kind of the Orwellian attitude, more so than 1984 because we've gone past that period, but now into the 2000s, looking at 18, 19, and beyond. Ooh, what are your thoughts? Give me a call. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Former President Obama is in the news again, and I have not much good to say about former President Obama, nor will I in this case either. But we'll talk about that in a minute. Caller, good morning. You're on the air, and thank you for taking the time to dial in.
You're welcome, sir.
All righty.
Talk to families that have had children with Down syndrome.
Right.
And I know a family that's had a child that's autistic.
Mm-hmm.
And that child is got a driver's license. He's living on his own. He is holding down a good job. And they said that they would not change a thing. They said he blessed them.
Absolutely. What right, and think about the word right, what right do we have to alter, change, modify, whatever word you want to use, human beings and the path of their lives?
We don't. We're not shopping for a car or a house or a new Stetson hat. We are receiving a child from God.
You mentioned...
Put there to strengthen us and bless us.
Absolutely. You mentioned Down syndrome, and I think you and I discussed this on one program a couple of months ago, as a matter of fact. I knew a family with a Down syndrome child, and I'll tell you what, I got to know the family really, really well. I got to know the child really, really well, and watched him grow up to be a teenager and everything, and he was really involved as being the manager of the football and basketball team. And I'm telling you what, he was just absolutely, and I'll underline this word, he was a joy to be around every single day.
Exactly. Every Down syndrome child that I've ever come in contact with, and I've known probably 4 or 5 of them, every one of them is so happy all the time.
But can you imagine, stop right there, the darkness and the absolute villainous attitude of someone saying, well, they don't deserve to live, and just basically throwing them away for a perfect society and a perfect human being?
That person is very ungodly and selfish.
But we live, Doug, unfortunately, in an increasing ungodly world.
We do. And you read Revelation in the Bible that says that will happen.
Yeah.
And we need to pray for those people that do that, but we do not have to condone it.
You look at parenting, and maybe the mother has something in her background that may show with the birth of her baby. Maybe the father has something in his background that might come up and create a problem in that baby. But, when we start going to a kind of a department store attitude of, well, we take this one, no, we want this one instead because we like this one better, and shop, literally, for our future babies and our future of mankind, I don't want to be a part of that society.
I don't either, and I refuse to be. I am one that child was put in your life by God for you for a reason.
Well, I certainly knew that when you called, your thoughts would be such, and I appreciate it. It just kind of gives me, I cringed at even talking about that this morning. I was going to talk about it yesterday, and I ran out of time. But it's a story that I feel dirty and greasy by even talking about it. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes, it does. Yeah, it's something that us Christians and people need to stand up and say, whoa, stop the bus here.
Yeah.
You are not God.
I
you
just
acting like God, but you are not God.
And think about it this way. Over in the UK, they have, and I'm not saying this is what happened, but it kind of makes more sense. They had a group of people that are supposedly involved in this kind of study and science, and they said, well, it's okay. Now, you don't think there was a little money passed under the table for somebody to go in agreement and say it's okay? When some group of beings say that something is okay, and then that kind of opens the door just a crack for this to happen in one area like the United Kingdom, or maybe in Australia, or maybe in Japan, whatever. Pretty soon it spreads like a cancer because some little group of people said it's okay.
Yeah, and if you notice where that starts, it starts with a government-run health care.
Yes.
It does not start in a country that you are free to choose your health care.
Where
the government does not want to foot the bill to help with those children.
Yeah.
So they are considering it like a business decision. Oh, profit and loss, let's cut our losses here.
Yeah.
And that's sad.
Isn't it amazing, though, how history repeats itself from the 1938 and 39 era of Hitler's dictates, prophecies, and speeches about a future super generation of mankind? Here it is again today.
Exactly. That's what happens when you do not teach true history to children and people growing up. When they don't know the true history, then they are going to make the same mistake.
Amen. Doug, I appreciate your call. Thank you. Oh, I can't forget the ending. Go ahead.
Everybody, let's do what we can for our senior centers. I don't care which senior center you want to participate in, but let's participate in the senior centers. Let's help them and support them.
There you go, Doug. Thank you. Have a great day. Thank you very much. Hey, don't forget our friends at Berry Equipment and Rental Sales Service and Parts. We're going to be talking to Juan a little bit later on this morning at the 159 West Highway 30 location. And, of course, Eli's in Twin at 465 Addison Avenue West and the Nampa location. I mean, they've got you covered with the best of equipment. I don't care if you need maybe some Bobcat excavators, new and used excavators for sale or rent, all shapes and sizes. Maybe you need compact track loaders or mini excavators, skid steers, whatever you need, they've got it. Absolutely. Berry Equipment and Rental, Sales, Service, and Parts, Twin Falls, Nampa, and old buddy Juan at 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. He'll be on a little bit later on this morning. Oh, and let me check my book here real quick. Oh, the Bennett boys got a big sale. Hang on just a second. I've got to pull out my copy for that sale. It's going to be in Twin Falls this Saturday, and it's the Bennett Auction, and it's located at 615 Monroe Street in Twin Falls, 11 o'clock this Saturday, the 21st, and they're going to have all kinds of antiques and collectibles and glassware and old records from days gone by, lots of great records in various speeds, like the 33 and the third and everything else, and craft items and supplies, household items. Going to be a lot of fun to be at this sale. Bennett Boys Auction Services is managing this sale, the Bennett Auction, at 11 o'clock Saturday on 615 Monroe Street in Twin Falls at 11 o'clock. The Bennett Boys Auction Service, no sale too big, no sale too small. The Bennett Boys, they sell them all. Caller, good morning, you're on the air. I can't hear you. Go ahead, repeat, please.
Hi, Dan. This topic that you're talking about this morning, it is so wrong. It's not a bit right. Certain spirits are meant to go with certain babies. You cannot change that spirit. It's not, it's just not right. God is the one that makes the choices, not us.
Let me ask you something.
To come to this earth to take whatever body we get, and that is what we're made to live with. And then, when we leave this earth, that spirit returns to Heavenly Father.
Yeah.
And it's genetically changing doesn't change the spirit.
Let me ask you
a lot of problems.
Let me ask you this. How do we go about reinstalling a feeling of respect for God's will in this country? Little by little, and this is true, little by little in this country, we as a society have got away from getting up and going to church on Sunday morning. We've got away from instilling a fact of right and wrong in our children. We've got away from moral values or values that have been handed down from past generations. How do we reinstall this so that this kind of idiocy of choosing, like in a department store, who's going to live and who's going to die, how do we change it back to where it should be?
That's when the second coming's going to come. God's going to stop it himself.
That's a good answer. That is a good answer. I can't tell you how much I appreciate your thoughts, because I always appreciate your call. Thank you, and God bless you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Nice lady right there.
Bye.
It's really kind of a take and push you back into the chair attitude about being able to select what you think would be the quote unquote perfect child. Scary. We're going to have a weather forecast right now, and I'd like to say thank you to Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And it's not just a hearing aid place. They're a full-service business, and they're expanding their services on hearing to help small children who are having hearing problems, even infants. And the two doctors, Dr. Mitchell and Dr. Pickup, absolutely outstanding, and you can trust your hearing health to them. They're right behind the Minidoka Hospital, across from the emergency room. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Number to call, 312-0957. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
I feel like I'm beginning to sound like a broken record as this high-pressure system decides to stick around for the rest of the week. Here's your weather forecast for us up at the ranch. Sunny skies today, slightly breezy, winds out of the west, right around 10 miles an hour, gusts as high as 20 miles an hour. Looking at a high of 92. Tonight, mostly clear with a low of 57. Tomorrow, again, another warm day, sunny skies, high of 93. Clouds moving in for tomorrow night, partly cloudy with a low of 63. By Saturday, we do have a 20% chance of rain showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon and early evening hours. Fingers crossed that those thunderstorms do not bring in any more wildfires. partly sunny skies, high of 90 for Saturday evening, partly cloudy with a low of 61. As we make our way to Sunday, sunny skies, high of 90. Monday, mostly sunny and 92. That's your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
And I appreciate it, Gina. Brought to everybody by our dear friends, and they do a wonderful job. They've helped me. They can help you. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And the number to call for an appointment, I urge you to do that right now today while I'm telling you and you're thinking about it. 312-0957. That number again, 312-0957. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Thank you. Hey, by the way, don't forget Bama. Oh, boy, they're having a ripping good deal. It started today, this morning, as a matter of fact. The Burley Area Merchants Association, Bama. Love that name. That's power. Bama. And they're having their sidewalk sales. Don't forget today, tomorrow, and Saturday. And all kinds of great local merchants helping out with the sidewalk sale. Great, great deals. Stop in, do all your shopping. You're going to have fun. Shop till you drop at the Burley Area Merchants Association Bama sidewalk sales going on through Saturday. Oh, and a quick note, don't forget, too, our friends at Stoats Equipment. Oh, hello, Vic. Hello, everybody. Stoats Equipment, your John Deere dealer at 119 Overland in Burley, and they've got the Ag Minutes every Tuesday at 9:46. Don't forget that. Stoats Equipment and John Deere, they do make your life easier. Really good people. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Another story I want to get into, and I know I'm almost out of time this morning, but it's so disgusting and discouraging, and really it just makes you mad to think that there would be some spoiled prima donna crybabies that are making millions and millions of dollars for playing a child's game, and they refuse to follow the rules. They refuse to do what their employers ask, and they've got this attitude of, nope, I'm above all the rules and regulations, I'm going to do it my way, and if you don't like it, that's tough. That is a sick situation when you've got that kind of a person or character telling ownership and their employer, stick it in your ear, I'll do it my way. That's exactly what's happening in the NFL. Some of these overpaid, underworked prima donnas have, and boy, I'm just fighting mad about this. I love NFL football. I'm a football fan. But last year I held true, and any team that showed disrespect for our flag and they were on television, I wouldn't watch it. Turned it off. Some of these football players are saying today that they will sit or kneel during the anthem. Some of these, and let's call it like it is, black football players feel the need to disrespect our country with a clenched fist. And why in the world can't they, of all the time that they have that's afforded them in the media, for interviews, etc., on their own time, away from the football field and away from the Sunday broadcast, etc., with the national anthem, why can't they say, well, we need to do this, we need to do that, and put some of their money where their mouth is, but they're not doing that. Roger Goodell, the commissioner of the NFL, with no backbone and absolutely a lack of respect, is not solving the problem. And the owners, quite frankly, they're between a rock and a hard spot. With the National Football League Players Union, a bunch of crybabies saying, well, we're going to do it this way whether you like it or not. Here's the owners that are writing out the paychecks. And quite frankly, I've said this before, I'd like to see, like that movie, The Replacements. I'd like to see that happen again. I'd like to see the Jerry Joneses. I'd like to see like the Green Bay Packers. I'd like to see franchises like the Denver Broncos, John Elway and the rest of them. I'd like to see them stand up and say, look, we've got a product that absolutely is apple pie, mom, and America. And here you are, not all of you, but many of you, far too many, are disrespecting America and this flag and our military and others by taking a knee or sitting. You're gone. We don't need you. We are going to let you just pack your bag and don't let the doorknob hit you in the posterior on the way out. And bring in the replacements. You know, I go back to that movie, and really it was kind of a grade B movie, if you will, but it had some really good points that the people that were playing as starters had kind of a we're here, who cares, we'll do it our way attitude, and then all of a sudden the strike came around and the replacement players were brought in, and you know what they had that the others didn't have? They had an attitude of winning. They had an attitude of trying. They had an attitude of achieving to do the best they could for the short time that they were going to be there. And that's what we need to have in this country. Not a bunch of athletes that are going to say, well, I'll just go ahead and pay the fine with my multi-million-dollar contract. What's a little fine? I'm going to show disrespect to the flag, disrespect to America that's feeding my family, and I'm just going to sit here, and if you don't like it, that's tough. One player this morning came out, and I just absolutely do not want to say the wrong name, but I think his name is Jarrell Williams. I believe he's a defensive tackle with the Tennessee Titans. And he said, basically, I will pay the fine, and I will not respect the flag or the national anthem. Boy, I would love to be the owner of that team. I would love to call this gentleman into my office and say, Mr. Williams, thank you for attending our spring training camp, but you're out of here. I don't need your kind on my football team. Caller, good morning. Quickly, I've got 2 minutes.
That's where the owners, the person that writes the check, needs to stand up and say, you are working for me, you will do as I say, because you or I would not put up with an employee that would do anything to harm the business.
No, you know, Doug, right there is the bottom line. Why is an owner like Jerry Jones or anybody else in the NFL, I don't want to single him out as the only one, but why don't they have the right to tell their employees, this is the way the boat floats, if you don't like it, jump overboard and swim to shore? I don't want people around my business that don't represent me and the values that I have for my business.
Exactly. That's exactly it. They need to stand up. The owners need to stand up, and this is where the unions have gone way overboard. Without that players' union, the owners could do this. But now with the players' union, I don't know if somehow in the contract or something they can't.
You know what it boils down to, though, besides the owners and the players union and the stupidity of Goodell and the NFL, it boils down to one simple word: respect.
Exactly. These guys have been coddled all through high school, all through college, and they feel they need to be coddled some more as an adult.
And
put on their big boy pants, realize how well they have it in this nation, and stand up for this nation. If they don't like this nation, they don't like how people feel about it, then by God, let them move someplace else where they can feel at home.
I could not have said it any better. And, you know, here are these people, these hulks at 6'7", 6'8", 300 pounds, and they're saying, well, I'm just going to do it my way. Well, good, do it your way. Go find a football team over in Turkey that's going to give you $17.5 million a year.
Yeah, and I don't begrudge them to have the choice to do that, but they are not above the consequences of their choices and actions.
Amen. Doug, thank you again. Appreciate you. Thank you. Don't forget our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations. If you're getting ready for a road trip, then you better stop in and see them. They've got all the tires, all the tread design, all the different sizes for your cars, your pickups, your SUVs, camp trailers, horse trailers, boat trailers. The list goes on. They've got tires, the best of tires, many of which are on sale, save you money. Stop in and see them today, and don't forget to that they offer a free pre-trip safety check, including checking the air tire pressure and the brake components, the wheel alignment for possible tire wear, front-end components, shocks and struts, battery, including a load test. All of this as part of the service to you. Get ready for a road trip? Stop in and see Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley, the best. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. What's coming up for the rest of the morning? Well, at 9:06, we're going to talk to Rapid Fire Sarah Seymour at the Chamber of Commerce. Then at 9:17, our Cassia Regional Hospital, meeting some wonderful people over there. 9:25, we're going to talk to old Jeff at Lee's for a few minutes, and then 9:30 at Rita. Well, I love talking to Rita every week. All of this and more right here on Zeb at the Ranch, but right now we're going to take a little break. Oh, before I do, Wheels, hang on a second. Lawnmower races this Saturday night over at the Minidoka County Fairgrounds starting at 6 p.m. Concessions open at 5:30 p.m. Ripping good fun with the Lawnmower Racing Series this Saturday night at the Minidoka County Fairgrounds. You be there. We'll be back in about 7 minutes. Oh, good morning, and welcome back. Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell with your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you. Get ready for a road trip and stop in and see them today at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Along with some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Also want to say a big thank you this morning to our wonderful friends, your friends also, Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert, with the manager Joel Heward, his family, and his staff serving you. And when there's the passing of a loved one, always with the highest ethical standards, with unquestioned integrity. They want to serve you. They will serve you. Please write the number down and remember to call 436-5636. That number again, 436-5636. Hanson Mortuary in Rupert. And Joel Heward also serving you and your family at Morrison Payne Funeral Home on East Main in Burley. Another thing that needs to be said real quick before we go to our chamber report, I want to remind you about taking care of your dogs, kitty cats, all your livestock, everything. They deserve the best of your care. And that means you'd better get a hold of Ark Animal Hospital at 750 21st Street near Connection Credit Union in Hayburn at 678-1177. So much going on in the summertime. Cheatgrass and foxtails get underneath the skin of your pets, and oh boy, you've got a mess of trouble. And don't forget all the ID tags for your pets. And I don't care if you've got a herd of dairy cows or just, like I said, a little bitty kitty cat, they can take care of it. Dr. Jordan and Dr. Bill and the entire staff at Ark Animal Hospital in Hayburn, where they have warm hearts for cold noses. Right now, let's go over to the Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce and buckle up, everybody. Here she comes, rapid fire. Sarah Seymour, good morning.
Hi, Zeb. This is actually Shaylee Willis. Sarah is out this morning, so I'm filling in for her.
Well, like I said, here comes rapid fire Shaylee. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you, Zeb?
I'm peachy wonderful. What's cooking over at the chamber?
We actually have a lot cooking over at the chamber. We're excited to announce that Upper Crust has joined the chamber. The new owners are excited to have their open house this Saturday, July 21st. From 11 to 1. There will be raffle prizes and drawings and all sorts of games, and family-friendly. Everyone needs to come down to Upper Crust and introduce themselves to the new owners. It's a great opportunity to meet them. Sonia's Event Center will also have their ribbon cutting on July 21st at 12:30 p.m., and that's 113 East Main Street in Burley. Again, that's Sonia's Event Center. Another one that you want to mark your calendar for, I think everyone's been watching this building go up for a long time, is the River Valley Orthodontics ribbon cutting.
Yes.
Right there on Highway 81. It'll be August 3rd at 12 o'clock is when they will have their ribbon cutting. We have kind of a fun thing going on here at the chamber. We have launched a photo contest that we are running until next May. We will announce the winners at the Southern Idaho Women's Expo in May. And those 10 winners of the photo contest will get their photos hung in the chamber with their name below it and where the photo was taken for a year. So It's kind of a fun little contest if you are out and about and you are taking pictures of anything that's in the Mini Kaja area, whether it's holidays or your family or the outdoors. Please submit those photos online, or you can come by the Mini Kaja Chamber and drop your photos off and submit them that way. July 21st, again, this Saturday is really, really busy. DOT is having a hiring event at the DOT location in Burley. Head over there. It's from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., and they're hiring for all sorts of positions. Next Thursday, July 26th, at the Overland branch, Starley Levitt will be having their Customer Appreciation Day. So if people want to go down to that should be a great time. It's 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., and that's Thursday, July 26th. And they'll be serving up hot dogs and Polish dogs, and it should be a lot of fun. And then, dun-dun-dun, Fair Week is upon us. Fair Month is upon us. So we're going into the Minidoka County Fair, which will be July 30th through the August 4th. You can go to our website, www.minikajachamber, for their full schedule of events. You can click on that. And then the Kaja County Fair and Rodeo will kick off August 11th, and that runs through the 18th. And you can once again go to our website and click for a full schedule of events on that one.
Wait a minute. I'm going to have to take the trophy away from Sarah, and I'm going to have to give it to you, Shaylee, because you never even breathed once during all that.
I'm breathing now.
There you go. That was excellent.
Oakley Vigilante Days, the Pioneer Days Rodeo this weekend out in Oakley. It's a great family-friendly event. Go and check it out. The people that put that rodeo on are awesome people. Just everyone head out to Oakley.
Holy moly, did you ever cover a lot of ground? You really set the spurs to your old horse and took off. I thought that was pretty good. Now, tell us, of all the activities that are going on, what's going on with the visitor center? Are you getting a lot of people to come in and say, hi, I'm from so-and-so and from wherever? Are you getting a lot of people?
We are getting a lot of people. Visitors have picked up a lot in the month of July especially. We're hoping to get a lot more in August. Usually a lot of people take trips before school starts. We've got so many new items in the visitor center, new T-shirts, water bottles, jewelry, all sorts of gifts, anything. If you haven't stopped by the visitor center recently, or you're looking for some sort of little knick-knack or something, stop by and we can help you out. Or if you have someone coming into the area and you don't know where to take them or what to do and whatnot, come here and we can help you plan a day trip, and we can print out all the maps and itineraries for you so that you don't miss anything.
I would imagine you were talking about photography just a little bit ago, and I was going to ask, right there outside your building to the south is one of the most picturesque pictures of that cross on that island with Mount Harrison in the background. Has anybody shot that yet and turned it in?
Nobody has shot that yet and turned it in. But like I said, we are wanting to get all sorts of photos. We have 10 places on the wall in the visitor center to hang these photos. Like I said, you will have a plaque at the bottom that has your name, and it will be hung for 12 months in the visitor center for everyone to see. And we want people to take pictures of, hopefully, we've had some submissions from the Rupert 4th of July. We would like Christmas pictures. We would like the folk dancing pictures, Kaja County Fair and Rodeo, just kind of living in Mini Kaja and what it means to you.
All right. Wow. She did a great job. Shaylee, tell everybody how they can get a hold of the Chamber of Commerce.
All right. You can stop by. We are located at 11777 7th Street in Hayburn. And we are open 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. You can also find us online at www.minikajachamber.com. You can also follow us on Facebook or Instagram. Find us at Mini Kaja Chamber. Tag us in your photos, hashtag Mini Kaja Chamber, for a chance to be reposted.
Holy buckets. You sit down for about, you're given permission to rest at your desk for about 30 minutes and sip on a cool drink, okay?
Okay, Okay, I'll tell her.
All right. Thanks, Shaylee, over at the Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Wow, she really did a good job this morning. Thank you very much. Hey, don't forget what's going on in Burley with the Burley Area Merchants Association. BAMA! Just love the way that sounds. BAMA! Sidewalk sales going on today, tomorrow, and Saturday. Oh, yeah, the local merchants and their great big annual sidewalk sale. You will find some super buys, and you can shop till you drop, buying school clothes or whatever, or maybe gifts for later on Christmas. I mean, whatever. Look at it today, tomorrow, and Saturday. Bama with their sidewalk sales going on through Saturday. Okay? Let's see, what else was I going to remind? Oh, on Tuesdays, we have a very special lady that gets on the program at 9:30, and that's the lovely Miss Vicky over at Vicky's Country Gardens. And we just really look forward to talking to her about everything growing. You know, your flowers, your garden, whatever's going on. Maybe you got some problems with your lawn or whatever. She can help. She will help. Vicky's Country Garden at 185 South, 600 West of Paul. Number to call, 438-5663. Vicky's Country Garden, celebrating 21 years in business. Really a nice lady. Right now, it's time to learn all about your friends, your neighbors at Cassia Regional Hospital. Wheels, if you would, please.
People caring about you and your health care in the most professional and progressive ways. That's Cassia Regional Hospital, located at 1501 Highland Avenue in Burley. In a moment, we'll introduce you to just one of the many dedicated medical experts serving you at Cassia Regional Hospital. Today's program, right after this. Cassia Regional Hospital provides you and your family excellent health care answers and services. They're right here, close to home. That's right. Cassia Regional Hospital offers the latest technological advances in medicine, like their new oncology programs and telehealth, which uses electronic information and telecommunications to promote long-distance patient and clinical health care. Your friends, your neighbors. Cassia Regional Hospital, 1501 Highland Avenue in Burley. Quality care close to home. Right now, we're visiting with another member of the imaging technician department at Cassia Regional Hospital, Jared Evans, the MRI technologist. Good morning, Jared. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for asking.
I am completely lost in a world of not even knowing much about your department or what you do. MRI. What does that mean?
So what it stands for is magnetic resonance imaging. And simply put, we use a very powerful magnet to interact and interface with the protons in your body, and that allows us to image very well some of the parts of your body that we otherwise don't get very good quality imaging. We do very well neurologically. In other words, the brain and spinal cord, we see a lot of disease processes and a lot of detail there that you wouldn't see within other modalities. We also do very well in musculoskeleton. So if you have a rotator cuff, if you have a torn meniscus, if you think your ACL is torn, you're almost always going to come to visit us in the MRI department. One of the things that we have at the MRI department here in Cassia that really sets us apart is our large bore scanner. In simple terms, that means we have a lot more space for our patients. Our scanner has a much larger bore. It's 70 centimeters, which is as big around as a CAT scanner. And it's also much shorter. It's only 4 feet long. So many times our patients' heads will not even be going into the scanner, say for a knee or an ankle, that kind of exam. It's much more comfortable. We provide Pandora internet radio while we scan most of our patients, which really helps them get through the exam as well.
Let me ask you this, Jared, and I've had all of these tests done on me at one time or another because I've lived a life of accidents. And what's the difference and what's the defining as to whether you should go have an ultrasound or an MRI?
Great question. And that is actually typically made by your physician. The physician is basically your contact point, and they'll make that decision, and typically that has a lot to do with the mechanism of injury and what exactly they're looking for. Ultrasound ultrasound does have its place, and it does very well. But when we're looking for ligaments, we're looking for tendons, specifically in the knee and the shoulders. MRI is gold standard, and it goes above and beyond what you would ever see in an ultrasound examination. Again, we see torn ligaments, tendons, meniscus, all those things we image very clearly, and they can use that then for surgical planning. You'll think just decades ago we would have to have a doctor go in and actually open somebody up to be able to see if they were torn, and now we simply spend 20, 30 minutes in the magnet, and we can get you a pretty good idea of what's going on in there.
Okay, now I've got to ask you another naive question, Jared. You said the magnet. How does this all relate? How does a magnet show on the screening for the MRI? I'm not sure I understand that.
Sure. So there's a ton of physics involved and a little quantum mechanics, but to put it simply, we essentially use the magnet to align the protons in your body. Once they're aligned, we can then use that vector of energy and manipulate that using radio frequency waves. So those protons, hydrogen atoms, once they're aligned, we can use radio frequency waves and then what we call coils, which are just antennas, really. And we're using the same radio frequency that you broadcast on, FM radio. So we have those in the room. We seal the room so we don't get any interference from radio frequency outside of the room. And then we send and receive that RF signal. And that's about as simple as I can put it. That allows us to select certain areas and certain slices within the body, receive that signal. It processes in a room full of computers bigger than the kitchen in my house, and then we get a nice picture of all the ligaments, tendons, and depending on where we're imaging, very detailed quality images. You
use the phrase align the protons in the body. Does a person feel any shifting or anything internally when this is going on?
Absolutely not. This is done at a molecular level, so you really don't feel anything. You do feel a little vibration from the actual changing of the magnetic fields, which happens very rapidly, milliseconds. But as far as any sensations when the protons in your body are aligning, you do not. No. Good question.
This medical science is just such a intriguing field for me, and it makes me question and wonder where in the world people came up with the questioning to develop this kind of process to help people with their health. I mean, who sat there in a dark room on a dark night and came up with this idea?
Agreed. And in fact, MRI really drew me because it is relatively new. It developed early 80s, late 70s. And when you really sit down and think about what we're doing to be able to get that picture on the screen, a bit of a mad scientist must have had a moment there where he just sat down and said, you have the conception, you have the idea, and then you start trying to make it work. And if you look at the very first pictures, and you go to the internet and see some of the early MRI pictures, they're not that impressive, but they are very impressive in the fact that somebody took that idea and actually was able to make it happen, because there's a lot that's going into that process before you're able to get that image. And it is rather mind-boggling when you think about it.
What about you? I mean, did you wake up one morning and say, yep, I'm going to be an MRI technician?
I did not. I was actually in my late 20s. I was working for a company out of California called Cisco Systems doing network security, and they actually had asked me to train my replacement over about 6 to 12 months who was not in the States. They were actually in another country. And I quit that day, gave my resignation, and had a brother that was in the field and went and shadowed and kind of fell in love with it immediately and went back to school and started fresh, did a 4-year degree, got my bachelor's at Weber State University in Ogden, Utah, and the path I took. But it immediately intrigued me. I found it very interesting.
Well, I would imagine the education, and is it a learning process every day on the job? Do things change every day?
I wouldn't say that they change every day. The examinations, they're vast and varied. The thing that's interesting is the different pathologies, different types of anatomy, your patients, and that's part part of what I really enjoy is interacting with the patients. But certainly you see new things and you learn new things every day, yes.
I'm impressed. Jared Evans, MRI technician at Cassia Regional Hospital. Sir, thank you so much for your time, and I guess it goes without saying, keep up the good work.
Hey, thanks, Ed. You as well.
Thank you. Tune in every Thursday at 9:18 right here on Zeb at the Ranch for more about the people and the healthcare services at your Cassia Regional Hospital, 1501 Highland Avenue in Burley. Quality care close to home.
Oh, wonderful people over there. Enjoy those programs. Thank you. Don't forget Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. Absolutely open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays 9 to 4. Summertime, get outdoors and enjoy the great Southern Idaho. ATVs at 0% financing, all the watercrafts, Honda, Pioneer, side-by-sides, all of this where the fun is sold. Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert, like I said, in the World. They've got financing available. They've got absolutely a super accessory department and, of course, a great service department to keep you running at Let's Ride over in the Rupert area, where they always say this is where the fun is sold. Right now, let's go to another place that's a fun place. I was in there the other day, and I'm looking for a comfy recliner. Here's my old buddy Jeff at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More in Burley. Good morning, Jeff.
Hold up, sir. I'm still trying to get a hold of him.
Okay, I thought he was ready to go, and hopefully he will be. Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More celebrating a great big red, white, and blue sale all this month of July, and we're going to quickly talk to him before we go to our next segment. Is he ready?
Give me one moment.
Poor old Wheels. Trying to get that all taken care of and ready for us. Once again, while I'm waiting, I'll tell you that Lawnmower Racing Series comes to Minidoka County Fairgrounds again this Saturday night. Oh, it's going to be fun. It's going to be just a lot of fun to watch. Starting at 6 p.m., concessions open at 5:30 at the Minidoka County Fairgrounds. Don't forget World Championship Lawnmower Racing this Saturday night. Wheels, is he ready to go?
Almost, just one more second.
I haven't got any more time. Hurry, hurry, hurry. And we'll see if we can't get him on the air, because we're going to be talking about that big red, white, and blue sale all this month at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. Jeff, are you there?
I'm not sure where he is, sir. I'm still trying to find him.
Well, I tell you, we're going to have to call him back at another time and get it rescheduled. Is LeGrand there? Is anybody there that can come on the air? Quickly find out.
Yeah, hold up.
All right, thank you. And we'll see if we can't run him down and see if we can't get him on the air. I love live radio because it puts everybody right in the driver's seat with me as we have a head-on collision. Anyway, Wheels, I'll tell you what, we will try to reschedule for maybe the first of this next week. Thank you for all your try. I do thank you, okay?
Yep.
All right, thank you much. Don't forget our friends at Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Boy, I'm talking about people that are really dedicated and responsive to your needs, always accessible for you. All you need to do is be sure and stop over and see them today at Highway 24 in Rupert. All your life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, all of this and more for you, your family, and your business. Cameron and Siemens Insurance. The number to call to make an appointment, don't forget, 436-4424. You be sure and stop over and see them today. We're going to be going to Rita Ramsey in just a moment, and I want to remind you that we're almost up to fair season, and wow, have we got some outstanding things starting next week on the program with all the local fairs that are going to be going on all the way through the end of July into August, etc. Go out and support your county fairs. A lot of good people putting forth a great effort for entertainment for you and your family, all the county county fairs. And a quick reminder that we're going to have the old fishing hole with Josh and Sportsman's Warehouse coming up at 10:32 this morning. He's been out to Salmon Dam, and he's really got some pertinent information for everybody about fishing for walleye and perch and the problems with the algae. He's going to talk about that. Right now, let's go to the phone line, and I believe we're about ready to hear a beautiful voice on the other end of the line, and that's Rita Ramsey. Rita, are you there? I'm loving this morning. I'm 2 strikes and out, and let's try it again. Rita, are you there?
I'm here.
Oh, God bless Rita. We found the lost, and she's ready to go. Thank you very much. Rita, wow. We've got a little feedback on the line. Wheels, help me on that, please. This week has been one that has been chock full of news, whether it is the lying and the twisting of the truth by Peter Strzok and Lisa Page, whether it's been the media allegations against Donald Trump and how they thought the European tour or trip was a devastating event. I thought it was all positive. We've got Obama slamming the United States over in South Africa, all kinds of things. What would you like to pick out and talk about first this morning?
Well, probably the biggest thing on the agenda was Trump's meeting with Putin and how everybody's screaming and hollering. You've got the people who are totally against him and they're ready to have him impeached over his meeting with Putin. You've got the people on the right that are saying we just need to get rid of him and put Pence in as president, and those are people on the right side that don't like him. And then you've got just average Americans saying, well, I don't think what he did was so bad or anything like that. So we've got 3 different sides at least that are fairly pronounced. What I did want to mention was that with the Putin deal and Russia and Trump, where were the Democrats in 2016 when all of this that they're all hollering about happened? Nobody said anything when Obama was the president, and they admitted that it happened. They knew it happened. They said it happened, and they didn't excuse it. And Obama even told the FBI and those CIA people, everybody, just kind of stand down and leave things alone, because he figured that Hillary would win the election, and they just didn't want to have any of it brought out to be where the public could see it. But now that it's somebody else, they're just trying to say, well, it's Trump's fault. Well, it isn't Trump's fault. Trump didn't get involved in any of that.
I was in favor, and I'll stand behind this. All the critics out there that don't like me or my stance on certain issues, go ahead and take notes. I was in favor of the way he handled NATO. I was in favor of saying to them, hey, shape up, ship out, or whatever, but pay your fair share. I was in favor of how he handled United Kingdom's Prime Minister Theresa May. I was in favor of how he handled the situation with Putin, and I'll tell you why. I'd rather have them talking and looking at each other than pushing buttons. To the media that criticized the whole trip, all they want to do is create dissension and havoc, and I think they're almost pushing for a world war before they'd ever support Donald Trump.
Well, let's just say this doesn't have anything to do with Putin. This has to do with Trump. They all hate Trump, and they're just trying to see if they can't find something. I had an article here that talks about how they're having historical reactions over everything that happened and saying that, Trump isn't doing anything. But, Trump imposed sanctions against Russia. I mean, he's been pretty tough with them. Russian diplomats and intelligence officers were expelled. Have you ever seen that happen in the last 40 years? I don't remember that I have.
No.
The cybersecurity situation, the Trump administration banned the use of software from Russian cybersecurity, and he kind of put a lot of emphasis on that. It says here that he is enforcing arms control violations, and they punished Russian companies in 2017 for helping the Kremlin develop a cruise missile that violated Cold War arms treaties. And then it talks about we've sent weapons to the Ukraine. We've armed them again. We've got them so that they have some way to defend themselves. It says that Trump ordered missile strikes against Russia's ally Syria in response to the use of chemical weapons, of which we know that Russia had a lot to do with that. And then Trump approved pre-summit indictments. And so those indictments that were approved were before the summit. He wanted that information to come out so that it would be out there in front. And those indictments, as far as I'm concerned, are an absolute joke, because that's just Mueller saying, well, we did something. We've got some indictments here of somebody that we'll probably never be able to catch.
You know, Rita, stop right there for a minute. Stop right there for a minute and expand on that. Who in their right mind, and I absolutely don't think I'd put categories for the Democrats to be in their right mind, how would they ever expect Russia to extradite those people back over to this country for trial or tribulation? It's stupid.
Well, they never expected that. It was just saying, oh, well, we found that there were some Russians that were the ones who were involved in this, so at least we got to the bottom of it. It's like, oh, baloney. You just pulled some names out of a hat that you're saying, well, we'll check into it, and making it look like you've really got something, and they don't.
You know, this whole thing has turned into, no matter what the story, no matter what the situation, no matter what, positive or negative, the Democrats and their party in general are going to twist it so that it's an anti-Trump, anti-this administration, and it's all now the Democratic Party of hatred. That's all they're standing on currently.
Well, it is, and like I said, that they're just grasping at straws because they can't find anything else.
Well, you know, I look at this thing and I look at the new face. They're trying to paint a new face on the Democratic Party. And they're trying to use that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez of New York as the new face, quote unquote, of the Democratic Party. All her face tells me is that the Democrats are leaning towards a complete socialistic and, quite frankly, communistic approach, far left, to represent their party. That scares me.
Well, it should. It should scare all of us. The thing of it is they're thinking, well, we can't win this way, so maybe if we can pick up all those people that were behind Bernie Sanders by going that direction, maybe we can gather enough strength and steam to get this train rolling. And I think they're going to find out that the rest of their Democrat base, will be leaving them, because there's a lot of them. It was kind of iffy as to whether they wanted to be on board with them before, and this could be the thing that just tumbles them back over and saying, you know what, we don't want that. And you know how the old saying goes, is socialism works until they run out of other people's money.
And you know, but how can they promote this, they being the Democrats? How can they promote socialism / communism as the new face of the Democratic Party when, like you said, it's been tried and failed? Look at Venezuela, look at all the countries that have gone asunder. Why would they want to promote that as a new idea for their party?
Well, first of all, they're desperate, and second of all, they think, and there's a lot of truth to this, that if they dangle a bunch of free stuff out in front of people, that they'll go with them. And all it takes is for somebody to start weighing it out and saying, there's no way they can give all that free stuff. I mean, people who are already getting all the free stuff just think there's more and more and more and more, and there isn't, and it's not going to work. It's never worked in any society. They end up having to get rid of the unproductive. So those people who are receiving all the stuff, if they're not productive, they better watch out, because they'll be among some of the first to go. But the rest of it is they start getting rid of people who they think are not productive. And that part is really sad, because then they start going after elderly, and they go after the infirm and everything else, trying to get rid of that load that seems to be bearing down. What it means is that if there are people who should be working, they should be working, not just getting free stuff.
Amen. And speaking of that, the free stuff. Now the city of San Francisco is going to try the same failure that Seattle tried by developing a head tax. Basically what it is, it's a tax on businesses, and that extra tax money would go to the support of homeless persons within the confines of that city. San Francisco wants to double the handouts to the homeless from $300 million to $600 million, and they're trying to do it with a taxing of the businesses. You can't make this stuff up. This is really stupid.
Well, it just goes to show that people won't use common sense things. The more you tax people, the more they look for a way to get out and go someplace where they won't. And so Texas and some of those places that don't have taxes, Florida, is where a lot of those businesses will end up going. The big problem with San Francisco in that area is they have let it get so out of control that they're out on a ledge right now ready to go over, and much of it has to do with the homeless and them not keeping stuff under control and letting them just take over the streets. And it is not just the streets downtown. They've taken over neighborhoods, and they go out into neighborhoods, and they've just totally, I mean, they're defecating on the sidewalks of people's neighborhoods and everything else besides all of downtown and everywhere you go. So people don't want to come and visit. People don't want to work there. People want to move away because it costs such a hellacious amount of money to live there. And they aren't saying, you know what, we probably need to make some changes and see how we can retain our people and bring taxes down a little bit so some of these people will stay, so we can bring in new people. But when you have somebody that has a mindset of, well, let's just keep taxing the rich because they're the ones that have the money and they can pay for everything, pretty soon the rich will be gone.
You know, and here we have another story that ties into what we're talking about. Former President Obama coming out in favor of a universal income where everybody is going to be provided a check from good old government, maybe $500, maybe even up to $1,000 a month for doing absolutely nothing but being a leech on society.
Well, it is, and when people are stupid enough to think that you can just pass out money to anybody for no reason, you can tell that they have no concept whatsoever. And how he could ever be president is just beyond me, because he was kind of out to lunch the whole time. He did have people covering for him, but look what our economy did. Our economy practically tanked during the Obama years. I mean, everything slowed down. There was no growth. Businesses were saying, let's get out of Dodge while we have a chance. And the proof of that is that just as soon as Trump was inaugurated, everything started moving again, and it's because there was somebody that had in office that had a little bit of knowledge about how to make the economy start turning.
But, you know, they tried this in some smaller towns in California, like Ripon, California, and now they've elevated it to where they want to try it in Chicago, and they want to try it in San Francisco, etc. But the money's got to come from someplace. Oh, gee, that someplace would be Rita Ramsey and Glenn and Zeb and Deanne out of our pocketbooks as taxpayers, just to give to people so that they have opportunities. Well, the opportunities are there if they get up off the couch and go to work.
Oh, absolutely. It's just really sad. People, when they just have everything taken away from them, start saying, you know what, I give up. I'm just not gonna be part of it. And they either leave, or they end up doing nothing, or they can start with the deal of, okay, well, I'll go out and mow somebody's lawn today, and they'll give me a $20 bill, and that'll last me for a while, and I won't claim it as taxable, and pretty soon you have a lot of under the table stuff going on just for people to survive. But they get to a point where they start saying, you know what, this just isn't going to work. I'm not going to be part of it. And it's really too bad that we haven't had, and it should be in all the high schools. I didn't really realize it until I read it. But Atlas Shrugged, with Ayn Rand, and talking about all of the people that, they were making everything moved, and then, move along, and then all of a sudden the government decides they're going to start doing this and that and the other, and these people start dropping like flies. They're the ones that had all the businesses and were making the country move, and they all of a sudden they just kind of disappear from everywhere. It's like, well, where did they go? It's kind of like, I don't know, but they shut down their business and off they went.
Yeah. I had to chuckle, and you being, and I mean this in all politeness, a news junkie like I am, you had to have seen what happened to MSNBC when they sent a reporter out on the street for one of the man-on-the-street interviews, and they were asking people at random about, and they were trying to get people to condemn and slam President Donald Trump. It backfired on them. And most all the people that they went up to were in favor of Donald Trump. They were in favor of Make America Great Again. And one old boy said, hey, I don't give a hoot about worrying about everybody else when they don't give a hoot about worrying about us. And boy, I guess the reporter decided maybe it was back to the studio.
Yeah, I imagine they decided, you know what, I bet we better not show this on TV very much because we're going to be laughingstocks because we couldn't even find people who were against Trump. The only place they're going to find people against Trump is in the mainstream media and in Washington, D.C.
Absolutely. I want to talk to you about politics in Washington, D.C. after I do a little bit of a commercial break for the weather. Stand by, Rita Ramsey. I want to remind everybody that our friends Phillips Oakes Goodwin Crane and Company have been providing accounting services to the Mini-Cassia area for well over 50 years. And I talked to Lyden Crane, like I said yesterday, and he wants everybody to be aware of the changes in the tax laws this year. With the passing of the 2018 PATH Act, where many tax rates have changed, new deductions, and some of the old deductions have been altered and changed. So you need to find out about this for you, your family, and your business. Be sure and get a hold of the best, Phillips Oakes Goodwin Crane and Company, with offices in Burley and Rupert. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
I feel like I'm beginning to sound like a broken record as this high-pressure system decides to stick around for the rest of the week. Here's your weather forecast for us up at the ranch. Sunny skies today, slightly breezy, winds out of the west, right around 10 miles an hour, gusts as high as 20 miles an hour. Looking at a high of 92. Tonight, mostly clear with a low of 57. Tomorrow, again, another warm day, sunny skies, high of 93. Clouds moving in for tomorrow night, partly cloudy with a low of 63. By Saturday, we do have a 20% chance of rain showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon and early evening hours. Fingers crossed that those thunderstorms do not bring in any more wildfires. Partly sunny skies, high of 90 for Saturday evening, partly cloudy with a low of 61. As we make our way to Sunday, sunny skies, high of 90. Monday, mostly sunny and 92. That's your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
And I appreciate it, Gina. Brought to everybody by our friends at Phillips Oakes Goodwin Crane and Company. The best of tax return preparation, tax planning, retirement planning, bookkeeping services, all of this and so much more, with offices in Burley and Rupert. And don't forget to check on the tax changes. Get a hold of them today. Phillips Oakes Goodwin Crane and Company. Rita, let's talk a little bit about the swamp, the mess back in D.C., the congressmen, the senators. When they get back there, it's almost like they close the door on their constituents, close the hearing aid to people that are trying to let them know what is of concern. And they seem to be devoted to just kind of the good old boys club. I am in favor, and I've changed my whole attitude on this, of term limits, a workable term limits program, because I think we've got to get rid of a lot of the excess baggage in Washington.
Well, absolutely. This is where, we've hollered and screamed about this, and we kind of get the, well, no, you can't do that, and you can make those laws, but unless you go around Congress, you're not going to get it done. The first thing that needs to happen, and we've hollered about this, is if we got rid of the 17th Amendment, then you would have senators who were appointed by legislators in their states to go back, do the people's business, and come home instead of pocketing a bunch of money. And if the senators couldn't pocket a bunch of money, do you really think that would go over big with the Congress? It probably wouldn't, and they'd be after them as well. So the only way that you solve that is to get rid of the 17th Amendment. The other thing is the way that you get rid of term limits is you're going to have an Article 5 convention where the people of the states go in and make the law and say, this is the law. Congress is not going to vote on this. We voted on it as states, and that's how we changed the law. And it's totally part of the Constitution. And I know I'll probably have some John Birchers after me about it again, but they don't have an answer of how you get rid of term limits or the 17th Amendment. The only way that you do is to have a state convention, Article 5, have the states meet together, vote on it, and say, okay, Congress, you're done after 10 years or 12 years or whatever they decide on.
Yeah.
And we're going to get rid of the 17th Amendment, so we are going to appoint senators, and that's how it happens. Until that happens, we are on a crash course to go over the edge, and we probably will.
I will say this, that I was an advocate, you know this, you were on the program for a long time with me. I was an advocate that the vote and the ballot box was the term limits that we needed. But now today, where we are seeing so many violations of honesty and integrity in voting, I honestly think the vote is no longer the termination for the politicians, but term limits will be.
Well, it is. You're absolutely right. I always felt like that the ballot box is where you do that. The big problem is that every state has to be on board for a certain amount, or you have guys from Utah that can be in Congress or in the Senate for 45 years or 40 years, and then one state says, well, we're going to limit them to 10 or 12, and the guy who's the 40-year-old guy is the one who's calling all the shots.
That's
so it kind of has to be equal, and the only way it can be equal is if there is a law, and everybody goes by it, because if every state doesn't have the same law, then Idaho doesn't get a vote when the guy who's been someplace for 40 years is the one who's wielding the sword and doing all the power.
I just think that we're at a turning point, and I honestly believe that politics in this country that turns the wheels and creates and causes and possibly stops problems is at a point in our history where the value system, the human value system is gone. The caring for people is gone, and it's how much they can do for themselves. And I'm going to stand behind that because I absolutely can name chapter and verse, you can too, of all the politicians that have A, been there too long, and B, are leaving there very wealthy.
Oh, absolutely. And, the part that's really sad about it is just like Idahoans voted for term limits here, and what did our legislators do? No, we can't do that, and they upended it, just like Clinton upended the votes down in California when they were doing that Proposition 8 and all of that kind of stuff. Somebody can come in and say, no, you can't do that. And it's like, well, wait a minute. What happened to states' rights?
Well, the whole thing is, how do we clean this mess up? Every day we're listening to this garbage from the Democrats, whether it's Swalwell out of California, and he's saying, oh, no, you can't get rid of the Mueller investigation. Why, big things are coming on the horizon. Wait a minute. For a year and a half or better and $40 million, they're still searching and with a worm on the end of the hook waiting for a bite. This is ridiculous.
Well, it is, and for special investigations, there ought to be a time limit and a money limit. Say you do it within this much time, or you're done.
Right.
And the guy kind of goes, I don't know whether we can do that or not. It's like, hey, this is all we're allotting you. You've got 1 year, and you've got $10 million. That's it. The end. Yeah, and I'll bet you that they would wrap things up rather hastily, especially if they knew that they were going to be penalized themselves. It's just ridiculous when they drag stuff out and spend the people's money. They have no regard for our tax dollars whatsoever, and yet they are the ones who raise their hand and say, I will support the Constitution, and what they're saying is that I will support the taxpayer because they're the ones who really are in charge.
Amen. Amen. Wow. Rita, we covered a lot of ground this morning. Thank you so much. It's going to be another relatively hot weekend. Stay cool, stay indoors by the AC, and we'll talk to you next Thursday.
Okay, thanks, Bye.
Thank you. Take care. Wonderful lady right there, good friend, Rita Ramsey on our program every Thursday at 9:30. I had breakfast at 4 o'clock this morning, and there we go again. You're already ahead of me. I am starving to death. Oh, I know some great places to go. Treat yourself. You deserve it. How about the AC Drive-In at 601 East Main in Burley? Oh, all the shakes, all the cones to help you kind of cool off a little bit in the hot weather. How about hot dogs and chicken strips? And, of course, the famous Farmer Brown burgers. Oh, delicious. Stop in today. Really nice people at the AC Drive-In, 601 East Main in Burley. Well, how about going to Taco Bandito at 2301 Overland in Burley? Wow. They've got the new pork burritos with beans, rice, pork, sour cream, and cheese. Knock your boots off. Delicious. And they also have bacon over at Taco Bandito. Jalapeno bacon. Woo-hoo-hoo. Light up your life. You're going to love the food and the people at Taco Bandito, 2301 Overland in Burley. And then we move over to Burgers, etc. Two locations serving you at 124 South Oneida in Rupert and 700 Overland in Burley. They've got that medium spicy chicken combo with fries and drink, only $5.99. I'm not kidding, just $5.99. And every Sunday at the Burley location, shrimp dinner, only $5.99. All the shakes, great people serving you at two locations of Burgers, etc. in Rupert and Burley. Well, last but not least, how about Steve-O's? Food made the way you love it. 290 South, 600 west of Heyburn. Steve-O's with the patio open and live music on the weekends from 6 to 9. Delicious salads. And the new spud, they've got the cheesy broccoli spud. Ooh, it is good, good, good. And, of course, buffalo burgers, you name it. Great staff that wants to serve you so you can enjoy your dining at Steve-O's. 290 South, 600 west of Heyburn. You stop in and see them today. And don't forget, those are just a few great places to go when you're hungry and starving to death. Wow, we got a lot of things cooking this next hour. We're going to have an interview with the new superintendent of schools for Cassia County, and that's Dr. Jim Shank. And that's coming up at 10:10. Business Salute at 10:23. And then we're going fishing at 10:30 with Josh at Sportsman's Warehouse. And he's been out to Salmon Dam already this morning fishing for walleye and perch. And he's going to give us all the updates as to what's going on in the fishing world, thanks to our friends at Sportsman's Warehouse. Right now, we're going to take a little break and listen to the big boys from CBS come in here. We'll be back in 7 minutes. Oh, here we go into the last hour on a Thursday, July 19. Zeb Bell, Zebeth Ranch with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. Excellent people. Along with some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Wonderful folks. Here's the situation that we've got here this morning. In just a few minutes, we're going to be having Cassia County School Days and talking to the new superintendent, Dr. Jim Shank. So stay tuned for that. Right now, as you know, Oakley Pioneer Days is off and running. Man, they're headed down the home stretch for the weekend. They've got activities going on every day. Some of the great merchants up there that say, come on up and enjoy the 131st edition of Oakley Pioneer Days include Smith's Cafe at 135 East Main in Oakley. They open up Monday through Saturday, 6:30 in the morning until all the customers are gone. Great burgers, great food, Smith's Cafe serving you. And Speaker of the House, Scott Bedke, a representative, says, come on up and enjoy the 131st Family Western Traditions of Oakley Pioneer Days. Thank you, Scott Bedke, Speaker of the House. Thank you, Smith's Cafe, and enjoy the Oakley Pioneer Days. And some of the activities, I'm going to go down the list real quick here, that are coming up this week. include tonight, they've got that world-famous Gymkhana, starts at 6 p.m. It's going to be big. Then Friday and Saturday night, the open rodeo at 7:30 p.m. And then, of course, dancing and fireworks. And on Friday, they're going to have a 3-on-3 basketball tournament. I'm just highlighting some of the events. They're going to have, of course, Chuck Wagon breakfast in the city park. And then don't forget, they're going to have that famous Pioneer Day Parade at 11 o'clock on Saturday for Oakley Pioneer Days. Looking forward with faith. Lots of fun for you and the entire family at Oakley Pioneer Days all the rest of this week. Be sure and be there. You know, we've been blessed on this program to have a segment called Cassia County School Days. And also blessed with the two sponsors that we have for this program. One, of course, A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley. And they're a big part of the Bama sidewalk sales going on right now for the rest of the weekend. Don't forget that. And all the children's clothing and the baby furniture, and they've got all the summer clothes 25% off. It's just a lot of fun shopping at A Child's World, 1308 Overland in Burley. And, of course, the Ambulatory Surgery Center, and we just absolutely say thank you for what you do. They can save you money on your outpatient surgery. So please call them, find out more at 677-8888. 677-8888. Ambulatory Surgery Center and A Child's World, bringing you school days in Cassia County. Right now, it is a privilege to talk to the new leader of Cassia County Schools as superintendent. Good morning, Dr. Jim Shank. How are you?
Good morning, Zeb. I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Well, if I was any better, the wrong fat man be wearing my clothes. Excellent day in the neighborhood. How are everything going for you as the new superintendent as you kind of settle into the desk and get comfortable?
Well, I couldn't be happier. There's been lots of warm, welcoming people that have come in and visited with me, and it's just going very, very well. Pleased to be here in Burley and a part of Cassia County School District. It's an exciting part of our future ahead.
Well, Dr. Shank, let me ask you this. There's a lot of people that probably have not had a chance to find out too much about you. They possibly couldn't attend some of the meetings, etc. Give us kind of a thumbnail sketch of who you are and what you represent.
Great. Well, who I am is... obviously, I'm an educator, and I come from a background of special education, so that's where I did my teaching. And after a few years in teaching, I became an administrator and worked in the Idaho Falls School District for 15 years. After that, decided that I'd move into a superintendency and went and worked in Juab School District in Utah for a few years, and just spent the last 5 years as a superintendent in Coopville School District in Washington State, which is kind of up in the Seattle area on Whidbey Island. So that's kind of my career in a nutshell. I have a family. I'm a family guy. I've been married to Sally for 30 years, and I have 6 children. One left in the home. Her name's Ashley, and she'll attend Burley High School. As far as where my philosophy or where I come from in terms of education is, I want all kids to learn at high levels. So learning is, what drives my purpose, and having kids, every student, be able to learn at a high level and be able to leave our system and be able to make choices is what I'm all about.
Let me ask you this question, and it may sound like a naive question, but really, what is the superintendent's job? What do you go into the office and try to achieve every day?
Well, superintendencies are all about leadership, all about leading, and as well as making sure that policy is being enacted, that the things that the school board and the state of Idaho expect to have occur in our classrooms and in our school buildings occur. So the direct charge with that is to make sure that these sorts of things are going on in a daily process, but also having a vision of where it is that we want our system and our schools and our children to be able to have this vision to be able to move forward and when they leave our system, become productive citizens, be able to make choices, be able to do the things that they dream of, be that college, career, just being able to decide and become a good, productive citizen.
Let me ask you this question. You've been up in the Northwest, you've been down into Utah, etc. Why did you want to come here, and what do you hope to accomplish?
Well, in my 15 years in Idaho Falls, we really enjoyed what it is that Idaho and what the communities, the culture here in Idaho is all about. And not that we disliked the Northwest or the area that we lived in. We liked it a lot, but our choices, if we were able to make choices, were that we liked it here better. And so when CASHA opened up and became available, we sat down, we talked about it, and said, if it's our choice and we have the ability to do this, we would like to live here. And a lot of that has to do with the family values, the culture, the people that we're surrounded with, and the things that they do for themselves as well as for their children and for the community.
Let me say this. You and I have never had a chance to meet formally, but you are going to be coming on my program on a frequent basis in the future, and hopefully right here in my studio. But I, for one, have said many, many times, Dr. Shank, that I am sick and tired of the negativity surrounding education in the state of Idaho, the ads that were run on television and radio depicting our students as being in a desert wasteland and not able to compete. I don't agree with that. I don't believe in it. What are your thoughts?
Well, we're of like mind. I don't believe it either. And I think I would say, in addition to what you stated, that we're better at educating kids than we've ever been in public education. The results are there. The data's there. We track how it is that we're doing. We're responsive to demands. We're responsive to changes. We're doing good work. And the negativity around that, sometimes difficult to understand why that's the case. But we've got to do also a better job of telling our own story. In business, oftentimes people and organizations will tell their own story. They'll talk about how it is that things are going, and we need to do a better job of that in building up our systems, our schools, talk about how well we're doing, and also, sometimes ask other people to talk about how well we're doing.
Let me ask you this question. You are the superintendent of schools for CASHA County, and you and I, like you said, you agreed with my thoughts about let's stop the negativity and let's build up what we have. What about other districts? Are you going to be in communication with other districts, and are you going to be working with other superintendents and try to stop all this negativity? Tell me about that.
Oh, sure. We work together. We attend meetings. We're all working in the same business of educating kids, and so when we talk with one another, oftentimes we'll share the things that are going on well in our neighboring districts, and that gives us an insight into, they've got some good things going on in Twin Falls. They've got some good things going on in Minidoka. And here's some good things that are going on in CASHA. And so it's an opportunity for us to speak about the greatness that we're all working towards.
Let me ask you this. When you look at it on a national level or a local level, what are some of the problems and or changes that you would like to implement as superintendent?
Well, we've always got to be focused on learning. The results that we're getting, wherever it is that we're at, we need to have growth in those areas. So progression, doing better, working towards aligning our systems with the expectations that people have of us. And then also just making sure that the kids are taken care of when they're under our care. When you look across the nation, you look across other states and so forth, a lot of the concerns that are coming up are in the world of mental health. And so some of those concerns about school safety, are kids feeling comfortable, safe at school? Are their needs to being met and that sort of thing? So those are some of the focuses that we are looking at, and how it is that we can help support kids so that when they come to school, they like coming to school, they love it, they want to be there, and partake in what it is that we're offering.
Let's talk a little bit about school safety and some of the issues that have happened previous, whether it's in Florida, Colorado, etc. What are your thoughts, your personal thoughts as to what we can do better, not only as parents and school districts, etc., but the schools themselves? What can we do better to ensure a more safer learning environment?
Well, some of this is a multi-pronged approach. Obviously, sometimes there's some things that we can do with our facilities that can help people feel more safe, requiring people who visit us to do certain actions. And there are some things that have been done in Cajun and other school districts. But part of it, at least in some of the things that I've addressed in my prior work, is that knowing what's going on with our students, having a solid enough relationship with them that when there's something that's wrong, when there's a bother, where there's an issue, that they have an opportunity to be able to deal with that in a way that doesn't cause violence, that doesn't have them think that this is the way that you carry out your issues, your problems, whatever it may be, and that people are willing to talk about it and seek out help. In those types of contexts when we can control that. The other piece is being diligent, being aware, and it's kind of like these neighborhood watch type things that go on. When people are watching and you have other sets of eyes and something looks odd and strange, you report it, and then it gets addressed. A lot of it has to do with the culture of our system, and clearly this isn't what we want to be happening in our schools, and we're going to do something about it.
Let me ask you this, I'm on the last couple of minutes of this segment, but is this area and Cassia County School District, is it a kind of a unique situation with differences like from Raft River being a rural family ranching and farming area to Burley and over to Declo, etc., and then out to Oakley? Is it kind of unique in the way it's laid out?
Oh, sure. It's a unique area. There's a great uniqueness to it, and each community brings its own strength to our system, and I look at it as a positive. You look at larger school districts or you look at smaller school districts. Each has its own culture and it's each positive that they bring to it, and the smaller geographical systems like Cassia, you're going to have schools in outlying areas and what it is that they bring into our programs. So there's values that can be brought in that each can learn from, that each can bring forward. Having worked in Utah for a little while, Alpine School District, I was a teacher there when I was younger and earlier in my career, and that's a very, very large district, and each of those communities that are within that district, each has its own desires, its own needs, but also brings its own values.
What do you hope to achieve? What's your major ambition or goal after you sat down at the desk for the first time that said your name and superintendent? What do you hope to achieve?
Well, I hope to achieve that every one of our students every day is learning the things that it is that they need to learn, but also that they want to learn, that they have a great experience in school. That's number one, that kids have an opportunity to perform, have an opportunity to succeed, and then be successful when they leave our system. That's number one. The other piece is that we want to be a great school district for everybody that's associated with it. Great schools need great communities, and great communities need great schools. And so we want to reflect that. We want to be a system of choice where people look and see us, and we're a lighthouse. So I guess that's kind of the way I look at it.
I've really enjoyed our kind of introductory conversation. Dr. Jim Shank, the new superintendent of schools of Cassia County. I wish you well, my friend, and hopefully you'll come back in the future.
Will do. Thanks, Seb.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it very much. That's Cassia County School Days for today with the new superintendent, Dr. Jim Shank. Thank you for being on the program. I also want to say thank you to our sponsors, of course, two of the very best, at Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley and the Ambulatory Surgery Center at 1344 Highland in Burley, and the number to call, 677-8800. 888. Whoa, we're going to have our business salute in just a moment, but don't forget the Bennett Boys Auction Service. They're going to have a great big sale this Saturday, July 21st at 11 o'clock, and it's going to be at Twin Falls at 615 Monroe Street. Absolutely look for the sign, 615 Monroe Street, the Bennett Auction. They're going to have a lot of antiques, a lot of collectibles, a lot of glassware. They're going to have all kinds of craft items and supplies, household items, really unique rocking chairs and tables, all kinds of miscellaneous, all of this and more at the Bennett Auction, 11 o'clock Saturday morning, July 21st, this weekend in Twin Falls at 615 Monroe Street, the Bennett Boys Auction Service. There is no sale too big, no sale too small. The Bennett Boys, they sell them all. Right now, we're going to go on the phone line. Yes, sir, go ahead.
Do we have another number for Mr. Wong? I tried calling him on his cell, but it just goes straight to his voicemail.
Ooh, let me...
Give me 1 second.
Okay, he's going to try it again real quick. We're not having the best of luck trying to run people down on the phone this morning, and hopefully we can get him scheduled here in just a second and on the air. And do we have him? And he's gone. What?
Yes, we do.
Oh, good. 1. We thought you were gone. My goodness sakes, it's good to have you on the program. How are you, Juan, over at Berry Equipment and Rental?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
Not too bad. What is going on right now? What's keeping you busy and earning a paycheck over at Berry Equipment and Rental?
Well, right now I am just leaving the beautiful city of Rupert. I'm actually in the cemetery. We just dropped off a walker mower for them, and that's what we got going on with those 0% finance, 48 months, and we have all sorts of mowers available to fit any homeowner's needs and businesses too.
I need to have you hold the phone really still, Juan. I know you're driving and everything, but hold it really, really still for us. Okay, the walker mowers. I had a gentleman call the other day, last week as a matter of fact, and he said, walker mowers, what is the unique quality about walker mowers that makes them so good?
Oh, it's the unique cut. It's the unique cut, and you have the best seat in the house and how well-balanced the machine is, and everything's so accessible, easy for you to clean, work on, and maintain.
Okay. And you've got all the walker mowers at Berry Equipment and Rental. What about the other things that people come in for? What's the most rented item that you have at Berry Equipment and Rental?
Right now, everyone wants to take a skid steer with an auger attachment. Everyone wants to put up fence right now, with a skid steer with about 9-10 inch auger attachment with a bit, you can knock out I had a customer knock out 75 holes in one day.
Woo, my. Now, what about the learning process? Now, you know that I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer when it comes to running equipment, and if I don't know how to run it, are you going to take me out in the backyard in that great big sandbox and turn me loose?
Absolutely. We'll point you out where to dig some holes, and then we'll let you give it a shot, let you know what you need to fix or how do you need to do it or position yourself, and then we won't let you go until you have a full grip of the machine, and we'll feel comfortable letting you go on your own property.
You know, Juan, what do you tell people when they come in and they've got a certain project to take care of, but they don't know what they need for equipment? How do you sit down and kind of analyze what they need?
It's based on their project. Like, you know, if a guy wants to come in and dig a big old trench for his water line and he wants to rent an excavator, you know, an excavator is a good piece of equipment to use for your line to dig a water line. But we also have case trenchers that leave a 7-inch trench, and then they can go up to 4 feet down deep, and that's enough for your water lines not to freeze over. And that's a little bit better. So we always go off the job. What you're doing, how you're doing it, where you're doing it, and we'll set you up with the best equipment for your project.
Okay, now let's talk a little bit quickly about the equipment rentals and what they have to do, and then also if they want to buy the equipment. You both handle the rentals and the sales, right?
Absolutely. All our equipment, we have brand new equipment with 0 hours on them that we sell, but we also sell all our rental equipment.
Okay. And when somebody wants to go in and rent, I know you've mentioned this to me before, is it a real hard process to go in and rent something if you're under the gun time-wise? How long does it take?
Oh, no. You can just come in, bring your ID. We'll get you an account going real quick. Our receptionist, our front counter guys are amazing. They are quick, and then we'll get you, while you're getting set up in the account, we'll get the equipment loaded so we can get you up and going.
I'll tell you what, you folks really have been nice to work with and everything. Now, you personally, you're in a busy part of the year, and then coming up this fall, are you going to be in any coaching capacity? What's going on?
You know, I actually just accepted a position at Minico High School.
Uh-oh, look out. You're going to be the new Vince Lombardi, huh?
Going to try to be.
Well, that, along with working at Berry Equipment and Rental, what are your hours over there at Berry Equipment and Rental so people can stop in and visit with you?
We are from 7:30 to 5:30 Monday through Friday.
Okay, and
here in Burley.
And the same hours, I would assume, at Addison Avenue West location and also Nampa?
So Nampa is the exact same as Burley. We're 7:30 to 5:30 Monday through Friday. And our Twin Falls location is 7:30 to 5:30 Monday through Friday, but they are also open Saturday, 8 to 5.
Absolutely. Juan, I want to wish you the best. You've always been really, really good to work with, and I appreciate that. You're really straightforward with the information. For people that are looking for equipment rentals or retail equipment sales, it's all at Berry Equipment and Rental, sales, service, and parts. God bless you, man. Drive carefully. Thank you.
Hey, thanks. You have a good one.
All right, sir. And, of course, Berry Equipment and Rental, 159 West Highway 30 in Burley, 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin, and the Nampa location, Berry Equipment and Rental. Woo! Busy day! And let's see what's coming up next. We're going to send it back over to Wheels in just a minute, and then we're going fishing with Josh at Sportsman's Warehouse. He's out at Salmon Dam, so we got a lot of things cooking in the next little bit. But right now, back to my old buddy Wheels at our station headquarters.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much, sir. And right now, I get a chance every Thursday during the summer. We've had a chance to visit with this man that is the guru of fishing. He knows fishing inside and out, from the top of the water to the bottom of the river. I'm telling you what, the old fishing hole, brought to you by Sportsman's Warehouse at 1940 Bridgeview Boulevard in Twin Falls. And here this morning is Josh. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Doing good, Zeb. Just getting home. It's a beautiful day.
Now, a lot of people don't realize that you have away from the Sportsman's Warehouse on Thursdays. It's kind of a day off, a day out in the sunshine with your son. You've already been fishing this morning at Salmon Dam. Is that correct?
Yeah, it was a good day. Algae blooms starting to kind of get right down in the dead heart of the summer. It's pretty bad out there right now, at least with the green stuff floating in the water. But you get on the right side of the bank, it's kind of all blowing to one side, and you can pick up a few fish.
Let me ask you this about the algae problem, and I'm so glad that you discussed this with me earlier this morning. What is conducive for having this problem? I mean, what kind of elements really have to come together to create this problem of the algae bloom, and how serious is it?
A lot of your it's your nitrates and phosphates that get into the water and kind of bring up, with the temperature, it will grow your algae, and sometimes it can be hazardous for like dogs and people if they're out there playing and they accidentally ingest the water. Mm-hmm. One of those that, like today, I didn't bring a dog, that's for sure, just because of that. I didn't want to risk it drinking some of the water and getting sick.
Now, what about, you said it can make a dog sick and it also can kill a dog, according to our veterinarians that we've talked to. But what creates this certain kind of algae bloom? I mean, why is it different than other algaes?
I honestly don't understand what the difference is. I know that there's different types of blue-green algae. They had it in Durkee's earlier this year, and they sent it off for testing to find out if it was toxic in any way, and I guess everything checked out okay. So, but Salmon Dam historically has had a problem over the years. Periodically, we have had, veterinarians have dogs come in that were either sick or dying, and it was from ingesting the water. And it's not only Salmon Dam. It can be like anywhere from Thorn Creek Reservoir to the Snake River. We had it down here a few years past, just below Twin Falls here by the Prime Bridge. So just one of those things that when you see that stuff floating in the water, make sure you're not getting any in your mouth.
Josh, let me ask you, when you say that, now what about the fish? If you catch a fish, and I know I'm going to sound really naive about this, so help me, but if you catch a fish and you drag that fish through that algae to try to land the fish, will the ingestion of that algae into the fish, will that translate into the meat and be dangerous for human beings?
To my knowledge, only if you were to eat them raw. Everything that I've been told, as long as it's been thoroughly cooked, you're still good.
Is it a short-term problem? I mean, are we looking at kind of the dog days of summer when this algae really is prevalent and then it dissipates going into the fall?
Correct, yeah, exactly. As soon as we get a good turnover, it will, and what I mean by turnover is that the surface of the water gets colder than the bottom of the water and it actually rolls over. It'll actually move that algae and mix it up throughout the water column, and it will slowly settle to the bottom. It does use up a lot of oxygen, so as it's growing, it's using oxygen out of the water, which is depleting the oxygen in the water, which makes it a lot less sustainable for, say, a rainbow trout that needs more parts per million of oxygen than, say, a walleye or a bass. So depending on what part of the reservoir and what you might be targeting could definitely be determined by, oxygen level in the water, and that algae bloom can lower the water oxygen content. So depending on where they're at and where you're looking, we fished kind of the middle of the reservoir because I was assuming from all my reports and by the way it looked today, anything on the south end of the reservoir where it's a little warmer is probably going to have more prevalent algae bloom. And if you were trying to catch rainbow trouts, that probably wouldn't be good.
Yeah. Let me ask you, and you know all about fishing more so than I'll ever know, but what changes in your style of fishing or how you try to go get walleye or perch or whatever with this extremely hot weather we've had lately? What does a fisherman have to know and realize to try to catch fish on hot summer days?
Well, in the dog days of summer, usually the middle of the day is the toughest part of the year. Usually, a lot of people will transition even to the other extreme and do the whole night fishing thing. But if I had one suggestion, try to go really early and try to stay out really late, Avoid that sun at all costs. If you can fish before it comes up or, the last hour to, an hour after dark, those twilight periods are going to be your most prime time to be fishing right now.
Okay, now you mentioned to me earlier this morning that you were out at Salmon Dam going after specifically walleye and perch. How did you fare this morning?
A lot of little fish. That was pretty much what we ended up running into, but enough for dinner. The old jig head and a worm is probably one of the most easiest techniques to use and was very... it worked very good for me and my son today to catch fish. We didn't find a big fish on any other baits, and when it came down to just trying to put fish in the boat, that was probably the most active way of fishing. Mm-hmm. Though we could have probably trolled a wedding ring or something like that and trolled along the shore and did pretty good that way too. I just have a problem putting a pole in a pole holder and waiting.
You're right.
It's easier for me to sit and cast. So if I can find a way to catch fish when I'm casting, I'd rather be doing that.
Do you have to go quite a bit deeper in these warmer days? Do you have to really almost get down to the bottom to get the fish in colder water?
Well, anytime you catch a walleye or a perch, they're usually near the bottom. Perch will live usually within a foot or two of the bottom 90% of their life.
Really?
But what happens is they're usually shallow near the bottom, but shallow in the mornings, and once the sun hits the water, they're moving off into 15, 20, 30 feet of water, and so is the bait fish. So if you can find the bait fish, you usually can find the fish that eat them. And in the mornings, you'll notice that they're all in the rocks, and as the sun comes up and it hits the water, they kind of disappear. And what will happen is they'll move down into that water column to avoid a sunburn, basically, and try to find and seek shelter out of the sun, and they'll move deeper. They'll even use that algae bloom out there at Salmon Dam. If you look on the sonar, you can see it for 3 or 4 feet and maybe even 15 feet of water, and then the water just clears up. And a lot of those fish just hang out underneath it.
Wow.
And use it as a sunscreen.
Huh. Well, now, what about the walleye? Out there at Salmon Dam, I mean, it's really famous for having some really good, big walleye catches. What about some of the walleye? What makes it so fascinating, and a lot of people want to go walleye fishing? What's the big fascination?
They're a tough fish to catch, and they taste really good in the fryer. But, you know, one of the best places that gets overlooked all the time is Oakley Reservoir. It has a state record walleye out of it right now at this time, to my knowledge. They did electroshock all the walleye out of Salmon Dam and transplant them into Oakley 20 years ago or so now.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, all the fish are kind of the same, but, you know, we got 4 reservoirs now that document walleye in them, and it would be Salmon Dam, Oakley, Ryrie Reservoir, and Oneida Narrows over in eastern Idaho.
Now, Josh, the walleye, it's not native to the state of Idaho, is it?
No, neither the smallmouth bass or largemouth bass and a lot of that. It's just one of those that when they put Salmon Dam in, it totally changed the waterway. We used to have natural running steelhead and salmon that would go up Salmon Falls Creek and run all the way into Nevada and reproduce. But when they put Salmon Dam in, hence the name, it changed the waterway. The water got warmer. There's no current. And trout and fish that need more parts per million of oxygen weren't being as sustainable. So with the introduction of fish that were more adapted to that type of waterway, created a recreational fishing type habitat to where we can go out there and catch something different.
Let me ask you this. If you were out there this morning fishing for perch and walleye, does that mean that you had to have quite a few different types of tackle available? I mean, different rods and reels, different line tests, etc.?
No, honestly, we were just using 6, and I think my son might have had 8-pound test on one of his rods, but mostly like a 6-pound line on a normal medium light action rod, and we were using just the same rods. Once we started catching fish on what we were doing, the same technique was catching both species of fish.
Do people have a lot of questions when they go in to talk to you at Sportsman's Warehouse at 1940 Bridgeview Boulevard in Twin Falls? Do they understand the differences in the test of the line as far as how many pounds, etc.? Do they understand what to get and why?
No, but I usually try to explain it, and one of the easiest analogies I got is if you put a jig on and you cast 10 feet with like 12-pound test, if you put 6-pound test, you're going to cast twice that far.
Okay.
So
all right.
It's a fine line of how far you want to get your bait away from the shore to the fish that you're catching to have it strong enough so that you can land them. But yeah, it's one of those. I usually try to go with the thinnest line I possibly can get away with, just so that I can keep my lure in the water longer and make longer casts.
I know that back in Wisconsin, when I did a lot of river fishing back there, and you're down on the bottom catching catfish, etc., I guess I'm guilty of putting on a lot of big, heavy split shot and throwing that thing out there and just letting it sit. What about the weights on the line? How does a person know how much weight to put on the line?
Basically, you want to use the lightest amount of weight you can get away with. Now, that depends on current. Like back where you're in Wisconsin throwing, a larger bait in the current, it might take more weight to keep you stuck on the bottom and not have it pull off. But basically, depending on wind and current and the depth you're fishing, I always try to recommend the lightest amount of weight you possibly can get away with, but you got to have weight on there so that you can feel and stay in contact with your bait so you can tell if you get a bite.
Okay. We have a caller on the line, Josh. Stay tuned, and if you can't hear him, I'll repeat it. Caller, go ahead with your question for Josh. Caller, I can't hear you. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I was wondering if he had. Is there a map of Idaho showing all the lakes that are available to go fishing in?
Okay, Josh, did you hear that?
Yeah, it sounds like maps. We do have available maps depending on, like, for sportsmen's, we have a few that are specific to our area that are going to be like CJ Strike, and it gives GPS coordinates to different rapids and stuff like that. But honestly, the best maps that I find is I use a mapping system for hunting called Onyx Maps, and you can get on the computer and it gives you like public and private lands. But I use that in conjunction with Google Earth Maps.
All right.
So that I can see like access points, I can see the roads in the pictures, and then I actually use my handheld GPS in coordination with that so that I can find those old dirt roads that take me down to the bank that are, within BLM or state land that makes it where I'm not crossing through somebody's property.
Caller, thank you for your question. Very well stated. And Josh, a quick question for you. Everything we talk about right here on the Old Fishing Hole, you, of course, will be back in the store, Sportsman's Warehouse at 1940 Bridgeview Boulevard. And give us just kind of a rough example of all the different types of tackle and the different kinds of fishing companies that you represent right there at Sportsman's.
Oh, we got anything from soft plastic to hard baits, and in many different companies, very competitive with anybody within the market. We carry Ugly Stick, Fluger, Shakespeare, Abu Garcia, Fenwick's, St. Croix, G. Loomis. We got it all there at Sportsman's, at least that's just my department, but we have everything from your Coleman and Stansport and Kelty and camping, anything in hunting to my knowledge to keep your eyes drooling.
I love that. Keep your eyes drooling. Josh, I want to tell you what a great job you do on this program, The Old Fishing Hole, and I look forward to it every Thursday. And folks, don't forget, they are the store. Sportsman's Warehouse. They've got everything in there: fishing, hunting, camping, knives, food, guns, ammo, clothing, everything at Sportsman's Warehouse, 1940 Bridgeview Boulevard in Twin. Josh, God bless you, man, and we'll talk to you next Thursday.
I appreciate it, and you have a great day yourself.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. I was so glad to hear that he was out at Salmon Dam, and he was going to explain a little bit about that blue algae. Very, very dangerous at this particular time of the year, and we've already had some reports about dogs. Keep your dogs away from those waterways with that blue algae. It can kill. Right now, holy smokes, we got to get a weather forecast on here, and our weather is brought to you by Scarro's Meats. Don Scarrow and the crew at 331 North Road, Jerome. The number to call, 324-7657, or you can go to their website, scarrowsmeats.com. I mean, it is barbecue time. Everybody put on the Chef Boyardee bib and go on outside and cook and have yourself a great time. How about the marinated pork ribs for only $1.99 a pound. How about all the different barbecue packages they have over there with tri-tips, and it's just all delicious. All the bacons and the breakfast sausages and the bratwurst. Oh, do I love bratwurst. You're going to love Scarrows Meats. 331 North Road, Jerome, 324-7657. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
I feel like I'm beginning to sound like a broken record as this high-pressure system decides to stick around for the rest of the week. Here's your weather forecast for us up at the ranch. Sunny skies today, slightly breezy, winds out of the west, right around 10 miles an hour, gusts as high as 20 miles an hour. Looking at a high of 92. Tonight, mostly clear with a low of 57. Tomorrow, again, another warm day. Sunny skies, high of 93. Clouds moving in for tomorrow night, partly cloudy with a low of 63. By Saturday, we do have a 20% chance of rain showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon and early evening hours. Fingers crossed that those thunderstorms do not bring in any more wildfires. Partly sunny skies, high of 90 for Saturday evening, partly cloudy with a low of 61. As we make our way to Sunday, sunny skies, high of 90. Monday, mostly sunny and 92. That's your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Oh, Gina, good job, good job, good job. Thank you. And also a good job to Scarrows Meats. Don Scarrow and his great crew at 331 North Road, Jerome. Delicious meats from Scarrows Meats. Changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Wow. I'm almost ready to say goodbye and enjoy the weekend. And it's going to be a warm weekend, like Gina was just explaining. And we urge you to drink a lot of water. Enjoy the great outdoors. Be careful out there. And I also want to remind you, as my lovely bride of 46 years just walked in the door, they're going to have lawnmower racing Saturday night at the Minidoka County Fairgrounds. Don't miss this fun. It's going to start at 6 o'clock. Concessions are going to open at 5:30. You can eat and then sit back and just laugh and enjoy the lawnmower racing series this Saturday night at the Minidoka County Fairgrounds. Don't you miss it. Want to also give a great big shout out, and I mean this, to our major sponsor. They've been with us for a long time, and we appreciate them. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations. You know, they really care. They really provide the best in service. They have the best in tires. They have the best in brake service, front end alignment, shocks and struts, and batteries. They know the tires that are going to best befit your driving conditions. Maybe you're getting ready for a big road trip. Maybe you need tires for your camp trailer, your horse trailer, your boat trailer, whatever. Stop in and see them today. Many of their tires are on sale. Don't pass this up. Get in there today and see Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. The best. All 7 locations of your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. My old buddy Wheels, get on the air here with me for a minute. You and I we have not gone fishing this summer, and we've got to get that done in the next couple of weeks. I promised earlier this season we'd go fishing, and hopefully one of these afternoons after we get off the air this next week, maybe I can give you a call and we can meet and we'll throw the lines in the water. How's that sound?
I would definitely love that. I want to be able to have you be able to break out your fishing pole that you've had for the past 30 years that you haven't been able to use either.
Don't rub it in. Hey, listen, I've got a favor to ask you, young man. I've got a meeting to go to, and I would really appreciate it if maybe we could end the week, and it's been kind of a tumultuous week with all that's going on in the news, etc., and maybe have kind of a patriotic attitude as we end this and head towards the news for CBS. But I want to extend to everybody, please have a good weekend and enjoy the great outdoors of Idaho. And don't forget, we'll be back here on Monday at 8:06, and we'll ride the horse for 3 hours right here on K-Bar, 12:30 a.m., and then streaming live on the internet, zebbell.com. And I wish to you and yours always the very best. God's blessings, and remember, the way things were are the way things ought to be, and the world needs more cowboys. Have a great weekend. Wheels, I'm going to send it back over to you.